Hello, friends. Happy Saturday. I trust you all are enjoying your Saturday. I am back with you again. This is Gigi, and I have my partner with me, Andrea.
Hey,
How
everybody. I'm wonderful. How are you today, Gigi?
excited. It's been a beautiful and busy morning for me this morning. But before we get on to that, I want to thank our mastermind friend who joined us yesterday live here to give us her wisdom. We trust that everybody check out our previous video and was able to learn from her. She is amazing. I can't wait until we have her again on our channel.
Me too.
Yes, it was wonderful. Today, let's share with each other how we did this morning as far as our routine, and also we'll get on to our um, studying for today. You want to
Well,
share
this
yours
morning
first?
I've got one thing that we do, the most sensitive time to feed the subconscious mind good positive material is 20 minutes after you wake up and 20 minutes before you fall asleep, because you're in that state of, I don't know, you're what do they call that state? Do you remember? But it's where
Um,
you're not fully conscious. You're kind of semi between.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that is
So are you
supposed to be the best time to go ahead.
are you referring to when we are just on a float a moment? Is that what it is?
When we're just waking up and when we're just going to sleep, where
Oh,
you're not fully conscious.
mhm.
You're kind of phasing into sleep and
Is
phasing
that
out
the
of
beta
sleep.
state?
Huh?
Is that the beta state? Is that what it is called?
I'm really not sure.
It's the different I think I know where you're going. It's the different type of states that our brain is on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is just as you're going into sleep and just as you're coming out, and I'm not sure what state that is per name, but that
Hmm.
is when our subconscious is really susceptible to taking in new ideas. And
Hmm.
so we get into the habit of using that time to do our visualization,
Hmm.
to focus our minds on our goal as best that we can during that time.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, I they always recommend, even with our mastermind group, to do it before you fall asleep and right after you get up. And to me, the way I feel about it is the mind is kind of like calm at those times. Every other hours is like so busy with everybody else. So, even though, like you say, you're not sure what it's called, I think it's just that for me. It's more, like you say, it's more open for us to put in the information that we want to put in, or even with our meditation time, which is like quietness.
Yes, and I think also the subconscious mind is not as alert to throw up friction to what we're trying to feed it, because our old paradigms, our old habits, our old thoughts
Hmm.
are there in our subconscious mind. And our conscious mind, as we hear new things, our conscious mind can either let it in or block it
Yeah.
based on fear, based on old beliefs, for many reasons. And during that time when we are easing into sleep and easing out of sleep, our subconscious mind probably is not so on guard
Hmm.
to fight, so that you can take that information in and and it be absorbed by your subconscious mind.
Hmm.
So I actually listen to subliminal affirmations and all while I sleep. I have a sleep mask that covers
Hmm.
my eyes and all, and it has two speakers right here.
Yes.
So I'm hearing positive things all night long. And then as I wake up, I set my alarm for about 15 minutes before my wake up time.
Hmm.
And then I specifically, whatever I'm working on, like say for instance, um, one of the things is sales mastery.
Yes.
It could be anything. I'll concentrate on something like that for a month.
Okay.
But that food that goes in during that time goes straight to your subconscious, and then at night as well. And so
Yeah.
this morning, that's what I did, and I had time for meditation and affirmations before our group get to know you call and our mastermind.
Hmm.
One thing I do say is affirmations. We keep talking about it, but we haven't explained what that is. Would you like to? Do you have a specific affirmation that you use where I'm so happy and grateful?
My affirmation is actually I'm getting it from online.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so mine I listen to it from YouTube.
Uh-huh.
So I go based on, right now I'm working on self-confidence.
Yeah.
Uh, so I use that as the I am from the YouTube video. I'm also working on creating more wealth.
Yes.
So I listen to something relate to that. So mine comes from that. But my favorite actually guy that I listen to, that I like to get affirmation from, is Joseph Murphy. From the book that we are discussing, he have great YouTube resource. Actually, I like to listen to, and I know a lot of people who like to listen to, that are related to to me personally, because of he also trusts in the Bible and everything. So for me, his information relates to me more. Because of that, I like to listen to him. So I use him a lot.
And I actually didn't realize that he had affirmations out on YouTube.
Oh
So
yes.
if you go out and you get on youtube.com and you do a search there in the box, you can put in positive affirmations and you'll see all kinds of
Oh
videos
yes, a
on there
lot.
that you can speak along with.
How do you do
And
yours?
well, one thing, I mean, I do the guided, I do
Meditate.
get some YouTubes and talk along with them.
I see.
And do that. I'm so happy and grateful. But like this morning, because we were having our meeting and everything, I focused more on I'm so happy and grateful that Gigi and I now have impacted 1,000 lives to reach
Yes.
their goals.
Yes.
And so why we do that is because when you're hearing it, well, number one, your words are very powerful.
Oh yeah.
And when you speak, you hear it also. And when it's coming from your own voice, you trust it more. Your
Yes.
subconscious can relax. I mean, your conscious can relax and not put up a
Mhm.
fight because it's coming out of your mouth and it's words that you may not completely believe it yet. But the thing is that the more you say it, the more you
Mhm.
believe it and the more it gets in your subconscious and in your heart. And so when we
Yeah.
talk about affirmations, we're talking about speaking positive over ourselves.
It's so interesting to me how some, I mean, I have heard this over and over. I'm sure you have heard it. The more the lie you tell yourself, the more you start to believe it.
That's right.
So we know that from a negative point of view. When it comes to a positive point of view, a lot of people don't want to practice it that way. And they want to, even I have myself I have fought that, trying to put in positive information. We know that, when they say, like, the more lie you tell yourself, the more you start to believe it when it comes to a negative way, but in a negative term. But when it comes to, if we can turn that in a positive term and apply to good information that we want to start believing, yes, in the reality, I might not be that person that I imagine to be in the future as of right now. But that's what it means. The more lie you tell yourself, the more you start believing it. So when we doing the affirmation, you are speaking into existence what you would like to come about in the future, and your mind does not know the difference between a lie and a truth, and eventually it will catch up to to match you to that person that you say you are.
That's right. Very
So
good description.
yeah, so it's like when, that part, I always hear people saying, like, they understand that part, and I also understand that part. When you ask them, like, how about you change it to now, apply that into a positive form, and then people want to fight back by saying, like, well, that's faking. And then the other term also, fake it until you make it.
That's right.
And I have choked up on that too, like, well, I'm not doing that. But the reality is, I mean, they have these little terms that we don't use them as in the right way. Fake it until you make it, which means is our mind does not know the difference between, the lie and the truth because of that. And if we pretend to be that person, and
Hmm.
knowing why we're doing it, because we know the mind does not know the difference between the truth and, the lie or the truth. The mind give us whatever we say. If we
That's
say
right.
we're not, you know we lazy, the mind make us lazy, or the mind accept that, and then we turn out to be that. Because going back to, again, words are very powerful. In the beginning was the word.
That's right.
So
We
it's like,
want to line up our speech, the things we say, we want to line it up with the Word of God. What God says
absolutely.
we are. That's what we
Yeah,
want to speak to ourselves.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Let's pull out those powerful words that is put in that for us, and let's use it. Let's empower our own self.
That's
Yes.
right.
And instead of, yesterday I was thinking about actually building a positive vocabulary words, and like there are certain words that we use that needs to be replaced, so how about if we start stacking up a new vocabulary words in our, in our daily life, and the new vocabulary words is what we want to be. Like, for example, like for me, like I say, one of the things I'm working on is self-confidence.
Mhm.
So whatever the self-confidence might be now, there are so many areas we need to practice self-confidence for. It could be a public speaking, or it could be looks, or whatever the area. Or it could be, your self-confidence with your health. There are so many areas, right? So if we can say, first of all, like, let's study the definition of confidence, break it down and study that word. If there is any negative words in there, take it out.
I love that.
Yeah. And then, let's learn a new, like, let's be a kid again. Let's start building a new vocabulary words again, positive vocabulary words. So that's what I was thinking yesterday. I wonder, because words are very powerful. How about if we start practicing, new positive words? Um, but so that's my thought. I don't, did you share your morning routine already? I think we got
I
deep on
did.
this
Yeah, I
conversation.
think that's how, yeah, I think that, well, I think that that's how we got into affirmations is
Okay.
what I did this morning. Yeah.
You practice on that. I was sharing with you earlier, my morning routine. My husband woke me up 4 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, and today I was planning to sleep, but he woke me up 4 o'clock in the morning. He took me to running on this bridge that we always go running. So we did I think it was 2 miles that we did. And yeah, and it was really good. We had a great time. He knows one of
Oh,
my favorite thing to do is to see the sun come out. So he makes sure I get that. Yeah, it was beautiful. And then after we did that, we took a lot of pictures. I probably will share that on Facebook. We took a lot of pictures, and it was so beautiful. I mean, I love the morning. I
what a
love the morning.
wonderful start to your day.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So that's how I started my morning. It was amazing. And then, and here we are. So I still have a lot to catch up on my to do my goal list for today. Because again, I want my weekend to be relaxed a little bit. I do
That's
not want
right.
it to be structured, how we are Monday through Friday. So, and plus, weekend is like a family time because we
That's
work
right.
every single day. So
That's
So
beautiful.
that's how I start my day for Saturday. If you have your books ready, let's start sharing our wisdom for
Okay,
today.
I'm ready.
From the book, wisdom from the book. Yesterday we left. Okay, we stopped on we were still on chapter 1 on page 15. So today let's discuss. I'm on where it says the subtopic is the duality of your mind.
Okay.
And I have highlighted you have only one mind, but your mind possesses two distinctive characteristics. I'm sorry. And so there is a few names they use, which are the objective and subjective mind, the conscious and subconscious mind, the waking and sleeping mind, the surface sleep self and the deeper self, the volunteer mind and the involunteer mind, the male and the female, and many others terms. You will find the term conscious and subconscious used represent the dual nature of your mind throughout this book. So here he used only the conscious and subconscious, although there is so many names that they listed already. Um, and he says an excellent way to get acquainted with the true function of your mind is to look upon your own mind as a garden. I love this.
Good.
You are a gardener and you are planting seed, which are thoughts in your subconscious mind all day long. Based on your habitual thinking, as you sow in your subconscious mind, so shall you reap in your body and environment.
And that's so true. Is this a good place for our illustration?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So I have an illustration for you, and Gigi's going to help me get the camera centered on it.
Yes.
So
Okay.
right here on our first illustration is,
That's perfect.
good, okay. So right here we have what's called a stick man, and this is the mind. So on the top half of the mind, this is our conscious mind, and down here on the bottom is our subconscious mind. So as we are taking in information, we're putting input from our conscious mind into our subconscious mind. This one represents our paradigms, our old habits, our mind today, before we start learning new things and putting in more positive information to change our results. So here we've got our old habits, our old paradigms. We're feeding our mind the same information we've been feeding it all of our lives, whether it's true or not, just picked up from information passed down from our families or from our environment or just habits that we are in. And so our results, we're putting in the same thing. Our subconscious mind is filled with the same thing, and we're getting these results.
Yeah.
So then we're going to the next one. Can you see it? Is it
I can
got a
see
good
it.
position?
If you can zoom it out a little, zoom in for us a little bit, that would
Just
be
a
good.
little more.
Yeah, and then just push it down. Okay, that's perfect.
Okay. So here, the O's represent good, positive information. And so as we're reading and studying and listening to audiobooks and saying our positive affirmations, we're putting some good information into our subconscious mind here, and you see the O's, but we've still got more X's. So we've still got work to do. So we're getting mixed results here because we've got a mixture of our old habits and our old thinking, and we've got, so we're getting a mixture on our results.
So the X is the old belief, the O is the new beliefs.
That's right. That's
Perfect.
correct. So then, after we have spent a lot of time reprogramming our thoughts, reprogramming our mind, putting in lots of good information daily, this is our new mind, this is our new habits. And here you can see we've still got a little bit to work on, but we're mostly consumed with the new information. And this is what we want. We're getting new results. This takes time, but this is what we're working toward, is we want new results. So we have to change the old mind, the old paradigms, get these fears, get these bad habits out, and come over here. We've cleaned up our subconscious mind, and this is where we start seeing success. That's it right there. That's our goal. And I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So now when we say we need to move from that old belief to a new belief, how do you suggest people can actually do that? Where do you start?
Just like we're doing with the book.
Just to start.
Because that's right, this book right here. And well, the first place I would start would be the Word of God, because God tells us who we are, and God tells us in the Word what we are, and He builds us up all the time. So you want to put that in, but you also want to understand how the subconscious mind works. So going through this book, listening to us as we go through it, that's putting new ideas in your subconscious mind. And they don't stick right away. It's a process. Changing the way we think, it's a process. So be patient with yourself. But what we're doing here is changing those old paradigms and those old thoughts and ideas and replacing them with something that's going to serve us a whole lot better.
Got it. That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing with us your illustration.
You're welcome.
That was very beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so
so you were talking about how that we look at our mind as a garden.
Yes.
We're the gardener and we're planting seeds. So as we're feeding from our illustration, as we're feeding thoughts and information into our subconscious mind, those are seeds.
Yes.
And they determine what kind of harvest we're going to get. In other words, what kind of outcome we're going to have in our life.
Yes. And then he says on the next paragraph, begin now to sow thoughts of peace, happiness, right action, goodwill, and prosperity. And, the old paradigm for a lot of us is the opposite of these words. And when you hear this, when you hear this information, the first thing you'll say, well, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yes, but the thing is, it's not easy, but that's not how you want to live. Or that's not how I want to live. The opposite of these things, which are peace, happiness, right action, goodwill, and prosperity. I want those things. And in order for us to have it, is we need to actually have the words in us first.
That's right.
The beginning of the word. So let's what I would recommend, let's not fight back by saying it's not easy. Just take it. Just take the words and start implementing in our mind and challenge our own self, because we are capable. We are capable beyond what we think we can do. And this, he wouldn't give us all this beautiful mind if we're not able to replace them. We can replace them. It just takes time, and we need to become aware that we need to replace them. And I think that's what that's what we're trying to do, make people aware.
That's right.
And that's right. That's what it helped me. That's what it helped you. It does. It's funny. I don't know where I heard it. To clean out one message that you receive from one person, it will take 7 people to clean it out. 7 people has to come and share with you a positive information to be able to replace that negative information.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And it shows you how powerful negative information sticks in our mind. And I usually, I mean, it's so easy to get a negative information than positive informations. So, so when we hear these things, let's really take it in and just come back. If you don't understand it this time, come back again and listen to it, and it will start to attract positive more, and the more we focus on the positive, and the more positive we will attract.
That's correct.
On the next page, I have highlighted, do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Thistles, is that how you say it? I apologize.
Thistles, and that's like a thorns, like a rose
Okay.
has
Yeah.
thorns on it. So that's
Yeah.
something like that.
Every thought is therefore a cause, and every condition is an effect. For this reason, it is essential that you take charge of your thoughts so as to bring forth only desirable conditions.
When your mind thinks correctly, when you understand the truth, when the thoughts deposited in your subconscious mind are constructive, harmonious, and peaceful, the magic working power of your subconscious mind will respond and bring about harmonious conditions, agreeable surroundings, and the best of everything.
Beautiful.
That's our target.
Yep. Let's match the words and the words that we are putting in to the result that we want to get. And he says down the line on this next the next paragraph, look around you wherever you live, and you will notice that the vast majority of mankind live in a world without. The more enlightened men are intensely interested in the world within.
Remember, it's the world within, namely your thoughts, feelings, and your imaginations, that make your world without. It is therefore the only creative power, and everything which you find in your world of expression has been created by you in the inner world of your mind, both consciously or unconsciously. That's deep. That's very, very hard to understand in the beginning. It takes
Yeah.
time. It takes time to understand that.
Yes, and because it's, we think it's the outside of world that is making a difference in our life, in our outside world. And I personally, I have focused on the activities of outside for a long time, trying to get to where I wanted to get to, trying to experience success. But I found out it's no way. If you don't have yourself connected with your inner self, is no way you cannot get there. So that's when I realized, once I read this book, and that's when it hit me, and I said, there's no way that I can make it. There is no way that I can make it to this success imagination that I have until I get, to align myself with God, pretty much, and align myself with my inner self, not just the outer self. And when I say outer self, I'm talking about taking classes, and taking classes after classes, because it doesn't do no result. And if unless you inside is saying that you are going to be successful. If
That's
your
right.
inside is saying you're going to be a failure, and you are taking classes after classes after classes, you're not going to go nowhere, because those information, if they're not this kind of informations, because these kind of informations are different. And I'm talking about informations that are just, related to other knowledges. They are not specifically to these kind of knowledges. These kind of knowledges will transform your mind. If you read it over and over, and if you take a class over and over, they will transform your mind, because they go in the roots, and they are replacing your old informations that you have.
That's a good point, because I've heard it said, and even I think Mark says it a lot. in our mastermind group, he talks about how we don't fight the old paradigms. We don't
Yeah.
worry about fighting them. We want to replace them. We
Mm-hmm.
want to build new paradigms
Mm-hmm.
so that those old paradigms are pushed out, basically by starvation. If
Yeah.
you're not feeding the negative into your mind anymore, then those self-limiting negative beliefs and thoughts in our heart are going to be replaced with the new information. So we're not tearing down or fighting against the old paradigms, we're replacing them so that they can't return.
Yep. You have anything else highlighted?
I don't. Actually, we got as far as I got.
Okay. All right. So today we share with them with the different um, of the mind, which are the conscious and subconscious, and you share with them that beautiful illustration of the different, the paradigm, which is the old paradigm, and then where we're trying to take them by sharing with them this information. I hope you are enjoying your day and as well as our video. And we truly believe that you will find valuable in this information. Get the book if you haven't gotten the book yet, and get to, start to reading, get to know your own mind. God gave us this beautiful mind to be able to create our own success future and whatever the success is mean to you. And, let's start to make ourselves better. And then also let's, help each other to make the world better. And it's
That's
by,
right.
and by changing our thinking. Let's make our thinking to be a beautiful, beautiful and peace and prosperous, happy and loving. So in that way we'll be able to produce those results.
Amen, sister.
All right. Have a lovely day.
Yes, you too. Bye, everybody. Be
Bye.
blessed.
Be blessed.